Hey guys, Buckpixel here, back with another episode of Historically Significant Phones. This phone isn't historically significant per se, but it is significant to me as this was my second ever smartphone. This is the Motorola Defy, and today I'm going to be taking a look at it. This phone was released in November 2010, meaning its 10th birthday is coming up. However, I used this phone in 2012. This was originally my dad's phone, however once he got his Galaxy S3, I got his Motorola Defy as I wanted to replace my Xperia Play as I really disliked that phone for multiple reasons. I used the Defy for about 6 months before getting my mum's hand-me-down, which was the Galaxy S1. Let me tell you the first thing that I like about this device. It's that it's water and dust resistant. Whilst most iPhones and Androids nowadays are water resistant, having a phone in 2010 that was water resistant was not a common sight. The way this was achieved was with flaps around the headphone jack and the USB port. Unfortunately, I can't test the water resistance because this example that I bought from eBay is in a sorry state, with the USB flap missing and the back not closing properly. By the way, the rear panel locks with a switch, which is super cool. In the advertising material for this phone, Motorola called it life-proof, with it being drop resistant, water resistant and dust resistant. Design-wise, the phone is not too bad. It's a little bulky and a little industrial looking, but compared to other phones at the time, and compared to how rugged phones look today, this wasn't actually too ugly of a design. And you know what? Even if the advertising material seems a bit cheesy, in my opinion, this phone was actually life-proof. Our phones nowadays are so fragile. Yeah, the new iPhone 12 has a shatter-resistant screen and is water-resistant, but do you want to try that out on an £800 device? No. But 12-year-old me believed in this phone so much that I put the claims to the test, listening to music in the shower and even throwing this phone around. Back in my art lessons, there was one lesson when my teacher went away, and what I decided to do is grab a glass of water, and I gathered everyone around and I dropped my phone in water just because, I didn't think that's something that people saw before, so I wanted them to be amazed by it, and people really weren't, but some people were, and I thought it was just super cool that you could just drop it into water. But yeah, let me tell you another second story about this phone. Me and my friends were one day just hanging out in our local park, and we're just throwing this phone around like it's nothing because, well, I didn't care if it broke, and I didn't expect it to break, and in fact it didn't. I only got a few dents on the bottom of the phone. It was actually in a really good condition otherwise. I think there was like one scratch on the rear as well, but it was still in a really good condition. I don't know if this phone will survive another 5 years because the back is rubber, and you know what happens to rubber backs, they get very, very sticky. It's also quite nice to have in your hand as well. I don't mind modern smartphones being big. I actually quite like the big screens because I use my phone for content consumption a lot. However, it's just kind of nice to have a phone that fits so easily in your hand. I can grip it, and I actually quite like its capacitive buttons on the bottom. So going back to this version of Android is such a trip. So when we go into the lock screen, you can see the old ugly Android clock font. We can also see two sliders. If you slide right, that unlocks your phone, and if you slide left, that puts into vibrate mode, which is quite useful. And this is MotoBlur. MotoBlur was kind of Motorola's answer to HTC Sense, but it's also similar to Palm's software. Basically, this would put all your social media feeds into one widget. Say your emails, your Facebook, your Twitter, your MySpace, yes. It would all just be there in one. Kind of cool. Never used it personally. I actually kind of didn't like the UI of it as well. A lot of people actually really dislike this skin, which is also called MotoBlur. It was very bloated. And this phone is not very fast with an 800 MHz processor, and this skin would kind of slow this phone down even more. And yeah, just going back and using MotoBlur is just very, once again, nostalgic. Seeing the white notification bar with the colorful icons, this is before Google told Android manufacturers, stop it, don't do that. Seeing the old notification panel itself, which is white and very bare bones. Toggles didn't come until either Ice Cream Sandwich or Jelly Bean, so you had to download a custom app to have toggles. Seeing all these Motorola specific widgets and the Motorola icons, and even this seeing what page you're on brings me back, and even seeing this AOSP how to use Android widget, which like every phone had, is cool to see. And it's also cool to see the all app screen, which once again, very nostalgic to me. I remember using my dad's phone when it was still my dad's phone, and kind of just going through his all apps screen and just looking at what apps he's got, and he had a lot of cool apps. Because we all had a lot of cool apps, because this was the early days of smartphones. You had like Talking Tom, you had like fake beer apps that like make it look like you're drinking beer, and like lighters and like paper towels. This was such a cool time for Android. Unfortunately, most of whatever's preloaded doesn't work anymore, including Android Market, so I cannot download any apps. Let me tell you what does work though. This phone has two different types of voice recognition, which is quite cool. There's the old Google one, which was, you know, prior to Google Now on Tap and prior to Google Assistant. And there's also the Motorola, completely on-device, unlike the Google one, which is goes into a cloud server. And the on-device one actually works quite well as well.
Please wait. Please say a command.
Contact.
Please say the name.
Pocket Pixel.
Pocket Pixel. Opening contact details. Next time, just say contact Pocket Pixel.
I love the little robotic text-to-speech, and I love that it works. You know, 10-year-old device, and it's got really good voice recognition. And this has some old Google leftovers as well. For example, Google Maps was 3 separate applications: Maps, Latitude and Navigation. Maps still works. I wasn't able to get navigation working because I cannot get GPS signal here. Kind of cool, and the UI is very much car focused with these big icons. But yeah, Maps still works, and it's the new Google Maps look as well, so that's really cool. There's also Google Talk, which predated Hangouts, which predated Allo, and then we suddenly back on Hangouts, but it's now called Google Chat. Google's had a very long messaging history, but Google Talk's the original one, and I can still log in. YouTube doesn't work. That's to be expected. The YouTube app has not worked for a very long time. You cannot watch YouTube on the default browser. It just loads infinitely. I think the Wi-Fi on this is really slow, but I've waited like 30 seconds and it didn't load the video. I tried Opera Mini. Opera Mini is even worse. Every website's very broken. Most internet-related things just don't work on this anymore. Cardio training does. It's kind of like Google Fit back in the day. Kind of cool. Speaker on the back. The reason I'm talking about it is because I actually quite like the speaker on the back. You can feel the vibrations on the back of the phone, and I used to like put it up to my like cheeks and like kind of feel the vibrations whilst I was playing music. Let's talk about the ringtones. I had to listen to the ringtones and the notification sounds. Most of them, if not all of them, except the Motorola ringtone, are just the stock Android sounds, but oh my god, are they nostalgic. Have a listen. Another big memory that I had with using this phone was rooting and putting on custom ROMs. As I said earlier, MotoBlur wasn't great, and a lot of people that own this phone actually put Cyanogen mod on it. I remember using Gingerbread and KitKat on this device, and I much preferred the experience over MotoBlur. I also remember overclocking this phone from 800MHz to 1GHz. Yeah, phone overclocking is something that people used to do, mostly out of necessity, as this phone was quite slow for its time. I do wish that I was able to try out some apps from the time, but because the Android market doesn't work anymore and I cannot be bothered to go searching for apps from this time period, I think I'll save that for another video. Don't worry, I have plans to revisit Android 2, Android 4 and Android 5 later down the line, so this isn't the last you'll hear about this OS. But that's basically all I have to say about the Motorola Defy. I don't have many memories with it, but the ones I do have, I will cherish forever. Just being able to see the launcher and navigate it is a trip down memory lane by itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this slightly different type of video, and I hope to see you in the next one.